It's Sammy. It's Kyle.
And it's Ryan here today, and I want to start off with just a question of how differently you saw the world during your much younger formative years than how you see it today. Like, what big things have changed, and why have they changed?
Well, I think that the beauty of life has just been you live in every single day, and no one can counteract what you've seen. No one can tell you haven't seen something that you've seen. So, my perspective on where I am in life is completely different than what I thought when I was a kid, right? Because my perspective was coming from TV's perspective, from older kids' perspectives, from parents' perspectives. But those people's lives have been nothing like mine. I've lived my own life, and that's given me my own view of the world that no one else could have ever taught me, that could have accurately described this.
I think that's definitely something along the lines of what I was thinking, and it just not only that as your younger formative ages, but as you go along, like as you get to elementary school, as you get to middle school, as you get to high school, these different stages in life that you picture the world and how you previously did. And I think that's very eye opening when you're older.
Yeah, and I see that especially as you get older, you realize that more of what's projected onto you and how you're supposed to be and what's expected of you keeps on changing. You become more aware of that. It's not that you're an elementary school kid and you have no idea what's coming. Everything that you're being told you have to take is valid. When you're in high school, you learn to differentiate the two. Learn that what's being given to me, what's being projected onto me, isn't correct because I'm here and what was projected onto me back then wasn't even close to that.
Yeah, I was really disappointed with what we got from high school versus what they showed us we were gonna get in high school. It felt like there was a place for everybody in high school just by the way the movies portrayed it. There was always, the social kids. There were all the sports guys, and then the people who were friends with the sports guys but didn't play sports. The smart kids, the social outcasts, but still they were like a group because they were outcast together. Even though there was those people who took the role as I didn't fit, but they still fitted together as a group of people who didn't fit. And then when I got to high school, it just seemed like a bunch of individuals in a group. There was no set system of who you were going to be with. And I really didn't expect that at all. It was all about just who you liked, who was in your classes, things like that, versus just this set curriculum of you're going to end up with the sports guys if you play sports, or you're going to end up with these, X if you're X.
I feel like that was definitely projected on like pulp culture at the same time too, because the images they gave of high school and that thing and how it was completely run by cliques is just not generally true in the scheme of things.
And I think it's also very interesting that so many people have their own individual remembrance of high school. And that, I've been talking to some kids who they swear they wish they could go back to high school, be a freshman again, relive, change the way they did things. They're miserable now. And then you got people who hated high school. They couldn't wait to get out of high school. Then you have people who just loved it. And the fact that each person can have such an individualistic experience is just kind of mind-blowing. That what Kyle brought up, like the TV shows projected like three groups of people who were all very similar. And that's just so far from the truth.
We keep talking about how we were younger and what we expected the future to be like in high school, but I still have that mindset today. I'm still looking ahead, and I'm wondering what's my life going to be like in my 20s when I first have a job, living alone. What it's going to be like when I'm married and have a family. If I'm going to be married in my 20s, and I have expectations for those times of my life. So I still don't feel like, we're there. Like, I still have so much of my life that I want to live that I'm still constantly putting those expectations on myself.
I love what you said about, looking in the opposite direction, looking past rather than looking forward. Because why do we think about the past so much? What's coming is ahead of us, right? Like that's the living we have left to do. We can think about our memories, when we're old? Why are we caught up on this and that? Why are we having a whole podcast about the past when everything there's to talk about is in the future?
I mean, like, yeah, that's a very, those are like valid points, and I get that. That high school is like not an especially long period of our lives that we think about and develop on, but it's definitely something that's very nostalgic for a lot of people, and I feel like a lot of people feel differently about it.
And from that high school, right? Like, if you ever heard the expression that time goes faster as you get older, it's like mathematically true. Like 4 years in our 16, 17, 18 years is a large chunk of our lives. When we look back at it, it'll be like it was over in a blink of an eye. But right now, it feels as if each and every day and when I look back behind and look forward has been moving so slowly. Like the next day I'm doing something that's building towards who I'm gonna be, that's searching for who I am in essence as a person. And I feel like so much has changed just in the past couple months that I look back to a year ago and I wonder how much changing could I have possibly done in that time frame.
You know, like I have grown so much since I've left high school, or since senior year. During senior year and my first year of college, I feel like I grew as a person and became much more mature, and I've learned so much about myself and about life during that time that I just view myself then and myself now as two different people. And don't even get me started on back to freshman year and what I was like then. I was a baby. I physically, mentally grew so much since then. Maybe, 20, 30 years from now, maybe 50 years, I look back at this time as a blink of an eye, but right now it feels like it was so long ago. And that's maybe why people look at this time of our lives as so important, or why it's hyped up so much, because you change so much during this time. Those last couple of years of high school, once you're, fully grown and you start to become on your own your first couple of years of college, you learn a lot about yourself and what motivates you, what causes you to, be lazy, especially, with relation to schoolwork. If you're going to school or if you're, going to work, you can find out what motivates you there. And, once you're completely on your own like that, nobody, pushing you or motivating you, when you fail, you only have yourself to blame, and you can fix those faults of yours pretty easily. Because there's literally there's literally no excuses but yourself. So you can just look like, why did I do this? Why did I make the mistake? What caused that? And correct it. And you grow a lot during that period. And as those big milestones happen, because I think you view your life in milestones, not necessarily by age. It's like as you identify yourself based on those milestones, so many milestones are passed during that time of your life that it feels so long ago.
I was a stupid kid, right? I was a senior and I felt like I had grown so much from my junior year. I thought, how much more changing could I possibly do? Like, isn't this who I'm gonna be when I'm older? And aren't I the guy? I had all the cool guy friends. I had all the smart guy friends. I excelled in school myself. I played basketball. I won homecoming king. I thought, how much better could I be? I thought I had the tools to then take the next day into college and say, I'm the king of this place too. But quite quickly, I saw, wait a minute. It's like I'm back at square one. It's like I'm a freshman in high school again to these people. No one knows me. And I grew more, it feels like at least, in this past year than I've grown in my whole entire life. Which I know is ridiculous because it's all about perspective, and that's what I see now. And probably next year I'll grow twice as much as this year, and I'll wonder the same exact thing. But just trust that each and every day you're building something that you've never seen before, and that you can improve so much in just that little time frame.
And I think it's definitely changed the transition from high school to college. I think it personally is more important than any other you're going to see in your life. Because, like, going back to what he was saying, it is really that period that, like, nobody is supporting you. Like, you have to find out what motivates you to get up in the morning, what motivates you to do well in the classes you're doing well in, and what motivates you to go to college at all. Because in high school, you were kind of there just for them to push you out into the world with some skills. But college, it's all you finding your career and going into your career path.
It's all you.
And you have to really find out the things that motivate you personally out of.
That was a very insightful take, and I've appreciated all of our takes. It's shown a lot. And thank you guys for listening. It's been a pleasure.